is it no one asked? I can't remember because I haven't made one of these videos in so long. I think it was over a year ago that I made the first episode, and I think it was just me interviewing myself about my books. But today I wanted to talk to you about setting goals and intentions for 2025 and a way that I am going to be doing that for myself in a more holistic and thoughtful way for this 2025 year and for the years going forward. Now, as you can probably tell by the title of the video, we are going to be talking about setting goals. We're going to be doing it in a way that not only supports the rhythm of the human body, but also in a way that sync with the seasons and nature. So essentially, we are going to be breaking down our year into quarters. Now, most people who work for corporations or in an office setting, or generally anyone who is not, even people who are self-employed, typically will break their fiscal years into quarters: Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. And normally Q1 would be starting right now. So Q1 is usually January, February, March. And that is when like the new fiscal year starts, right? And a lot of accountants use this method and whatever, based off the Gregorian calendar, and the year is usually broken up into segments that really support a business. So obviously it is natural for us to want to kind of cater and fit our lives to run like a business does as well. That's why it is the status quo to set New Year's resolutions and intentions at the end of the year. But the reason that doesn't really resonate with me, and that I also just think that maybe as a society we're doing it backwards, is because a lot of people don't realize that winter actually starts like the week of Christmas. So why at a time when we are supposed to be really settling in, slowing down, and cozying up and nourishing our bodies, getting less vitamin D, why are we deciding that that is the time that we're going to ramp up? The first day of winter starts on December 21st. So just days before Christmas, we are actually going into the winter season. And it's nearing the end of Q4. And we have just gotten through the craziness of the holidays. Even if you're not someone who celebrates Christmas, there's Hanukkah, there's a couple other, holidays around December. And at least here in America, obviously I'm American. If you're watching this, you're probably American. But I've also watched other content creators who are like Swedish or Norwegian. They also set New Year's resolutions as well and New Year's goals. And like, I feel like if you're a little bit younger, or maybe even if you're not, if you're just on social media, everything is about like the winter arc and like going in hard this winter and ramping up and like not taking any breaks basically during this time, and actually just like using it to kind of go harder. And I'm just going to preface this with a little disclaimer. I'm not here to say that you shouldn't do that. I think that if you have certain goals you're trying to crush that still need to be done and can't take a back seat during winter, then by all means, then take this video with a grain of salt. Because I myself too, I'm here for the winter arc. I'm not giving up on my fitness goals and all of that. But with that being said, I know that it's winter time. I know my limitations with the weather, with the minimal sunlight, and just my overall energy as somebody who works full-time in the retail sector and also feels the heaviness of the holidays while working full-time. So I'm not trying to pile a million things on my plate to get to that version of myself that's on my vision board for like spring. I'm going to still take the time to rest, to prevent burnout, and to do what our bodies are really meant to do during these winter months. I hope that wasn't too long-winded for this intro. Let's go ahead and dive in. Like I said, this is not going to be a long one. I feel like I've already pretty much made my bullet points in this intro, but we're going to kind of break it down. Let's go ahead and just start with Q4, because that is technically what we're in right now. Now, also, just like how we are going to be setting, I'm going to teach you how to set goals with the rhythms of nature. If you're a woman and you're watching this and you are not on birth control and you ovulate, then I want you to know that this is also very in sync with the way our natural rhythm is. So I think for us, this is something that we can truly integrate, and it makes more sense for women rather than men and women. Not saying that men can't also kind of divulge into this way of thinking, but I think that this will really resonate more with women because we experience the 4 seasons every month, every time we have a cycle. So I can kind of touch on that a little bit too, or if you want me to make a separate video, I can. But basically, your
spring is your follicular, your summer is your ovulation, your luteal is your autumn, and your menstruation is your winter.
which is why our energy does this. Okay? So just like with our feminine cycle, with menstruation, the seasons also do this. I truly believe this. And I know that people can live in different parts of the country that maybe don't have seasons or whatever, but I think I don't know, maybe I'm completely wrong in this, but I think maybe nature is going to feel these rhythms no matter what. So starting with Q4. So if we take this mindset and this system and this way of living and setting goals, and we change it to what the Q4 should be, I'm stating that in order to make your goals and align with the seasons and to be in this type of flow, the real Q4 for you would be December, January, February, instead of October, November, December. So if you work a corporate job, you probably know that the fiscal Q4 is October, November, December. Sometimes different companies will put it as like a 6-week month and it'll go until that first week of January. But typically that is the corporate world and the world we live in. That's their Q4. So our Q4 on a more holistic, nurturing level will be December, January, and February. So you can still make those New Year's goals in December. I'm not saying don't. I know how fun that can be as a very aspirational and goal-centered person. I love to sit down and make goals, not necessarily New Year's resolutions, because something I love to say and I stand by is that I am always making resolutions. I'm always working on myself. I'm never just like, yeah, I'm really happy with the way I am. I don't know. Sometimes I am. I don't think you always need to have something to work on, but I feel like there's always something you could say, I could improve that. So yeah, if you still want to get in on the fun of doing like a vision board or, bullet pointing your goals for the new year, go for it. But the whole point of this video is I want you to feel okay and feel comfortable with not necessarily even starting them in December if you don't want to. It is okay to just rest and enjoy time with your family, time with your loved ones, time to just take a nap. When the sun goes down at 5 p.m. and you suddenly feel ready to jump into your PJs, then just do it. You are allowed this rest because guess what? It's not going to last forever. It's only a couple months, and giving yourself that rest is really going to nurture yourself in ways that you probably can't even comprehend, because in our fast-paced society, we are on a hamster wheel constantly. And again, this is a part in the video where I am also just speaking to women. We live in a patriarchal society, so we are running on a men's clock. Typically, especially if we work a 9 to 5, especially if we work 40 hours a week. So this video and this way of thinking is really an invitation for you to kind of rewire your brain and realize that you are not even made to work at this caliber and this speed like most people are, like men do. We are not men. Back to Q4, December, January, February. This is a time of reflection. So I want you to kind of use this if maybe you are wanting to set those New Year's goals, but you're not necessarily in a place of enacting them right away, but just come up with a plan. If you're feeling that energy of like, yes, new year, new me, and you just want to put one foot in front of the other, start with bullet points, start with a list, start of things you want to manifest. And then I encourage you to branch out from each thing and say, okay, well, what will that make me feel like? And then what do I have to do on an actionable level to feel like that every day, or to feel like that when I do that? The whole becoming her mindset. The way this reflects with this season is that think about how everything is dying, dead, and dry and cold in the winter. It is a time to slow down. Everything's asleep. So we can use that energy to slow down our thoughts and our bodies and reflect on the seasons before and what we've learned from them. And then also I would invite you to integrate anything that you reflect on that you've learned. So hopefully within these last 3 seasons, you have learned something about yourself. That's the whole purpose of life, is to learn and grow from our failures and from our successes. So I also want to invite you to think of Q4 as an integration space as well. And think about maybe too some things that you are really proud of and integrate those going forward, and also recognize. And then paring back is a big one too. Like I said, what can you actually take off of your plate that'll help you and nourish you to kind of sink deeper into that rest and relaxation before we spring into the new year, before spring comes. And like I said, in the winter, this is a time where you get less vitamin D. There's just less sunlight. That's just a fact. So you legitimately don't even have as much energy as you think you do. You can supplement. Yes, it has such a profound effect on us. Obviously, that's part of the reason too why we don't want to wake up as early and we want to go to bed a little bit earlier. So just kind of keep that in mind for this Q4 phase. Like I said, you can't go 100 miles per hour in the winter. I mean, you can, but you're just going to be in this constant hypervigilant state. Like your nervous system is going to be shot if you are not allowing yourself rest in the winter. And trust me, this is something I've had to learn the hard way myself as well. Every year I get sick, and I know that a big part of that is the stress that I've self-inflicted from going to the gym every day, meal prepping, doing this, working, family stuff, travel. And this year I truly am just if I'm tired, I'm going to rest. Now, obviously that doesn't mean you just throw every single goal and habit out the window. It just means paring back on those ones that really maybe aren't as stackable and that aren't going to affect you as much if you take them out. So like I said, this is a time where most offices and retail spaces are going to say that we're halfway through the year at this point. But keep in mind that for you, this is truly the end of the year. So if we go from Q4 and then we're moving into Q1, because we're on what should I call this? Soulful? I don't know. We'll come up with a name for it. But we are on our nurturing path. So moving it from Q4 into Q1, this is spring. Okay. So spring literally starts in March. I know a lot of people think it starts in February. It does not. So our Q1 is going to be March, April, and May. Yes. And a lot of people think that May is also summertime, but the first day of summer is not actually until June. So again, if we are living our life within the season, spring is a time of planting seeds, slowly working towards our goals. Things are starting to begin and bloom and bud. We're starting to see, those little beginnings, those exciting little fluttery beginnings. I would also say that this is a time for you to integrate what you've learned from past seasons. So maybe look at where you were spring of the previous year and if you accomplish those goals. If not, because here's the thing too that I think is so important when we're making our goals for the new year is the recognition that some goals take a lot more time. Some goals can take 5 years. Some manifestations are so big and beautiful that it can take years, even a decade, for them to really come into fruition. So that's okay. Be real with yourself, be honest with yourself, and look back and say, hey, maybe I set this goal for 2024, but in 2025, I'm only halfway there, so I'm going to keep it on the board. I would say that spring is actually a time where I would encourage you to make the vision board, because your mind is just going to be a little more clearer. And I think this is where we're going to start kind of getting that cabin fever and realizing, oh, winter really is done. It's almost done. I'm tired of laying around. I've gotten all the rest that I needed. Now I have the clarity I need to see what I want to build this year. It's also a time for balance. So balancing those longer nights and early mornings, not taking as much rest, but still towing the line between pushing yourself a little bit and taking that space and rest that you need. Okay, so Q2. So this is going to be the summer. True summer, when we are looking at nature and what it actually says on our calendar, like when summer actually is and when it begins, is June, July, and August. August is the last month of summer. So this is when our energy is high, right? As people, as women especially, like if we look at our cycle, our summer, our ovulation phase is like when we are feeling the most energetic and social and beautiful and extroverted. So if we think of the season of summer itself in that beautiful way, the days are super long. And this is a time where nature is literally saying, look, you normally have 8 hours. I'm giving you 12. Like, let's see what you can get done in 12 hours. Let's see what you want to do in 12 hours. I think that's why summer is like one of those times where like not only is that why people take a lot of vacation, but it's also why in the summer you're more likely to go to work all day and then have no issue going out to dinner with the girls later that night and then maybe staying for an extra drink because the sun's still up. There's still that energy, like all the plants have come back, the bugs are alive. Ugh, which I hate. I hate bugs, but they're there and they're chirping and the birds are singing, and summer is high energy. It's just the vibe. So if we tune into nature and the high energy of nature, then that is the time to go from 0 to 100. That is the time to really push yourself extra. That is the time to really crush your goals and really give it everything you have and feel comfortable pushing just a little bit further than you might have done back in winter or even spring. And this is a time of growth. So I think that's the beautiful thing about pushing yourself. Obviously, there's negative connotations with pushing yourself too far. I mean, that's what leads to burnout and, you know, extremes in life. But I think that this is a time where it can really grow you. So in the summer, kind of think of it in that way, that it is, you're pushing yourself so you can grow and kind of like you're stepping into that next version of you truly in this season. You're pushing past fatigue and you have stamina. This is a time to travel, obviously, like we see the most travel during the summer. People take vacation. So this is a time too where your goals should be like in full motion. You should be hitting some milestones and ticking things off your list. And then Q3, so this is autumn, right? This is going to be September, October, November. So we're kind of settling down a little bit. We know winter's around the corner and we're just trying to get that last bit of summer and then kind of feel that cool down with the season. So just like we're going to feel that with nature, we also are going to kind of feel that with our goals. We're kind of gathering everything we need. We're preparing to slow down. We're moving away from eating out all the time maybe to having a few more home-cooked meals and kind of cozying up at home and also getting our home ready for this season. Again, like aligning the seasons with your life, kind of think about your goals in this way too. So you're not necessarily stopping those great habits. You're not necessarily putting the goals on the back burner. You're just pausing. This can also be a time of really grounding, really taking a pause and looking back. You know, half of the year is gone. You're looking back and you're saying, oh, wow, look at all I've accomplished. Or, oh, wow, I really put too much on my plate this year. This is what I should not have strived for. And this is maybe what we will make another resolution for the year to come. But we're not going to think about that now. We're going to think about the things that we are really benefiting from going 0 to 100 on, like the things that we have our foot fully on the gas for, and then the things that we could kind of ease up a little bit going into winter. So you're going to really ground yourself in this time and think, okay, what do I want to keep investing in and what can I kind of hit the pause button on as we get into these last 6 months of the year? And, you know. So we're preparing to hibernate. We're finding that balance and really just grounding into where we're at in that phase of life and just like letting the rest fall away. So this is personally what I'm going to integrate into this year in 2025. And I'm not normally someone who's very comfortable sharing my goals. I do believe in not speaking on things before we're in that summer phase of the goal. But for posterity, for this video, and for the sake of you guys, I do want to be a little bit more vulnerable here on my channel and just in general in life. That's actually one of my goals for this new year, is to be more vulnerable on social media and really just help you and grow an audience by sharing things that I have learned and integrated into my own spiritual practice and life, so that maybe I can help some people that are a little bit younger than me, or even people that are older than me that are just ready to integrate a way of thinking that doesn't keep them small and helps them to grow. That's my overall goal of being here online. I really have tried to think of why I even care about showing up on here, and I think at the end of the day, that's it. I just want to build a community where I can uplift others, and especially women, and help them kind of come back to themselves in a way that aligns with nature and our own rhythms, because I think that as a society, we've really gotten away from that. And I think some women also feel that it's not good to think that way and that we should be like men. And I think there is so much beauty in honoring our special way of living and being. And I just want to reiterate that here on my channel. So I'm going to kind of pop up some of my goals and visions for this year and leave them up to your interpretation. I think that's about as vulnerable as I want to get, is just letting you decide what you think they mean. And then maybe when spring comes, or maybe when summer comes, we can talk a little bit more about what that means for me. But for now, you can interpret that. And I'm just going to leave some bullet points about things that I am going to try and integrate for the new year. And then I think in end of February, we will do a full-on vision board. I'm also somebody who truly believes, I do believe in the power of manifestation, but I also know that it doesn't come from just putting pictures onto a poster board. It comes from aligning actions and changing your everyday life and committing to bettering yourself. And that is what brings in those beautiful changes and actually makes them feel wholesome and not superficial. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, please leave them down below. I know there's only 360 of you here, but hopefully that'll change soon. Hopefully that'll change this year, and maybe we can triple that number or even quadruple it. As I am filming this on January 7th, I believe, I've done my workout for the day. I took yesterday off. I'm going to shower, and I am going to just relax, because even though I want to push through and make myself feel like it's summer and go and edit this right now, or maybe work on a novel, I know that my body needs rest, and I'm going to give her that. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for my next video.
If you dance all day